G'day guys, just a last update on the Switch 810 Watercool build. This is basically the end product, so I spent a bit of time waiting for a few extra parts and also just working out the loop properly. I'm pretty happy with the way it's ended up, so this is just a quick update to show you exactly what I've done, what the components are in the build, and a bit of a look around. So just quickly at the front, I basically only have a fan controller, which is the Scythe Caze Master Pro. That's running the fans on the front radiator. There's no other changes to the outside of the case at all. Yeah, so just on the internals. The main part I was really kind of waiting for is to get the lighting right before I did this video. I've now got NZXT green LED sleeve kit in there, which is really quite hard to see without knowing that it's there, so I'm really happy with how easy it is to hide those cables. So I'll quickly switch on the lights for you so that you can see what it looks like lit up. Okay, so that's with the 2 meter LED kit, which is just about perfect to go all the way around the case. The last LED finishes right there, and the other one starts there, over there. But yeah, so it's absolutely perfect in length for that. So that's what she looks like all lit up in the end. I'll just turn the lights off so you can get an idea of what it's like in the dark. So it does look really quite good. You won't see any of these LEDs with the side panel on at all. It just shows you the lit up components inside, which I'm really happy with how they look under the lights, really. So okay, I'll quickly run you through the internal specs so that you've got an idea of what I've put in here. So the front radiator is an EX240 XSPC radiator, which is running push-pull Corsair SP120 Quiet Edition fans. I'm using the EK D5X res top with a D5 Vario pump and a EK multi-option 200mm tube res. Initially the kit came with a 100mm tube res, but it wasn't prominent enough in the build, and I thought I just wanted something a little bit bigger in there. So yeah, 200mm multi-option fits perfectly with that kit and looks quite good in the case. Power supply is an AX850, and I'm also using the Corsair individually braided black cable kit with it as well. Helps with keeping everything really tidy and really easy for maintenance around the back as well. Graphics card is a GTX 680, and I've got a Koolance VID-NX680 water block on it. On top of the graphics card, I've used an EVGA 680 backplate. I also have an EK 680 backplate, but I have to drill some extra holes in there for it to fit with the VID-NX680 water block. So at the moment it'll do, but that will probably get changed a little bit later on as well. Motherboard is a G1 Sniper 3 1155 socket, and it's got a i7 2600K running in there at the moment. The CPU water block is a Koolance CPU370 water block, and it's also at the moment running an 8GB kit of Corsair Vengeance RAM, which are the high heat sinks, not the low profile. It is meant to be a 16GB kit, but 2 of the modules decided to die on me, so currently trying to get them RMA'd. The top radiator is a RX360 XSP radiator. Again, push-pull fans, SP120 Quiet Editions on that as well. Just one thing with the top radiator and those fans, or any standard 120mm fans, which are in there at the moment, it gets very close to the MOSFET heatsinks on the motherboard. Luckily it clears it by about 2mm, 3mm, so it's very close. But some motherboards definitely will not be able to fit with this configuration. However, the Sniper 3 is not exactly a small motherboard, so yeah, you just have to make sure you measure things up before you go ahead and buy any parts. So yeah, one bank inside the case, the other bank with fans sits outside in the roof. And yeah, before anyone comments, yes, I know I've left the blue clips on the SP120 fans. I should get around to taking those off at some point, but no one's going to see them being in the roof, so. Yeah, so and there's a Corsair AF140 for the exhaust in the back as well. All the fittings throughout are Bitspower silver shining fittings. The tubing is clear Primo Chill flex tubing, which actually does shine pretty well actually. Like I wasn't sure about the glossy sort of finish on this hose, but under the LEDs it does really stand out nicely, so I'm really happy with that. The only thing I still need to change is in the top, from the CPU through to the front rad. I've got a 90-degree fitting on there to give that tube a bit of bend around the res, but I'm really not quite happy with that, and that should really be either a 45 fitting or a straight fitting. But I kind of ran out, so I had to use that for the time being anyway. So I've got some more fittings coming, so I'll change that around at some point. But yeah, basically that's pretty much it for the build. Like I said, I'm pretty happy with the way it came out. There are a few things, minor things that I want to change. For example, I'm not sure if this is going to pick it up, but it will. The cabling coming from the D5 pump still shows up with blue, black and yellow. And I'm really not a fan of that, so I'll get those cables sleeved at some point as well. And yeah, apart from the fittings, it's pretty much done. And the back plate as well, which I may change over at some point later on. But yeah, so that's pretty much the build finished. I'll just run you through the loop in case you didn't know, which I'm sure you all do. It goes from the res to the pump, from the pump to the graphics card up into the top the top radiator, from the top radiator into the CPU, from the CPU into the front radiator, and from the front radiator back into the res and into the pump. So simple loop. I tried to keep it as tidy as possible, especially the tubing coming from the front, the top rad. I got those as tidy as I possibly could. But yeah, so like I said, pretty happy with it. But let me know what you guys think, any suggestions on changes to it, thoughts. If you need to know anything about the build, just ask. Yeah, so please like, subscribe. Hopefully I have a few other videos coming up on some other builds I want to be working on for some mates. But yeah, this is for the moment the finished product. Okay, see ya.